Wow, just wow. Forgot to get a mic. Hello, happy Thursday. Welcome to Murder is Game Over, Deal Killer. Available now on the Xbox Store for $4.99. Hello, Allcash. Very sus. I'm like about ready to change scenes and my mic was not on, my mic was not here. Pro streamer. Alright, let's check out Murder is Game Over, Deal Killer. Hello, Mr. Coolness. Murder is Game Over, Deal Killer has 11 achievements for the 1000 gamer score. Press the A button to advance the game text. Have you played Murder is Game Over, the first case about the Gargoyle's Curse before? Yes. Great, welcome back. Introduction. Present day. When this whole adventure started, I was at home looking through the day's mail. In the middle of the pile of coupons for video games, yes. There it was, a certified letter from the desk of Billy Kramer, president and CEO of Hacktivision Games. It was addressed to Cleo and myself. Detective Guy and Cleo, I heard about you through that business of the Gargoyle's Curse when you performed so brilliantly. I'm writing to summon you for my own help. At this current juncture, since the deal to sell off Hacktivision Games to Comp Inc. has nearly become finalized, I've started receiving death threats because of the detailed personal nature of the writing. I believe that the sender is someone close to me. Hello, retired. Welcome. Bloody murder. Murder is a case that they gave me. I fear for my personal safety, which is why I have called upon both of you to join me. Your airline tickets shall arrive in tomorrow's mail. You and Cleo shall meet me in the Italian Alps at a private Christmas party, my inner circle, to celebrate the buyout. I hope to see you soon. Hello, NXT. Hello, nighttime. Welcome. The murder is game over. Game over, man. William Kramer the First. I didn't believe it either. The next day, the airline tickets arrived as promised, and Cleo and I were on a plane headed for Torino Airport in northwest Italy. Before we knew it, we're riding on the back of a chartered snowmobile, taking us way up into the mountains. It is a Coach's Challenge 5K shirt that the Ducks put on. So you go run a 5K, get a free shirt, free ticket. Excuse me, driver, where exactly are we going? The Cressida di Montenga Hotel is at the top of the ridge, 10 kilometers away from the nearest town. Can we make it there in this horrendous snowstorm? Not to worry, I've been shoveling guests in these mountains for years. It may look treacherous, but I'm used to these conditions. You're not the first to ask, and I assure you that I'm not the one you need to be afraid of. What do you even mean by that? Hey, they say the Cressida di Montenga Hotel and the surrounding area is haunted. I guess you two haven't heard of the legend of the White Lady before. Should we have? If you treat me to a steak dinner and a couple rounds of drinks, I'll tell you all about it. With that, Cleo and I arrived at the small, isolated Alpine Hotel on top of Craggy Mountain Ridge. Good evening, DX. Now I see why we had to be brought here by a snowmobile. The terrain is so steep that there are no roads. While inside of the hotel was toasty warm, our welcome reception was not. The president of Activision Games is a very busy man. I just verified with the senior Mr. Kramer himself, and I assure you that you're not on the party attendance list. We don't want any more uninvited guests. Senior Mr. Kramer paid to bring us here. He sent this letter in the mail. What letter? I better not let these guys see it, since his letter mentioned death threats from someone close to him. The contents of the letter are a private, confidential matter between the client and myself. What nerve. Why would my dad even consider calling on a common detective like you? There must be some strange misunderstanding. I'm sorry you've been put through this inconvenience. I'll call for the snowmobile driver to shuttle you back as soon as possible. Leo and I must speak to the senior Billy Kramer at once. Where is he? Get out of my way and let me do my job. Hey, who turned out the lights? power must have gone out because of the storm. Hear the strange singing? I can't tell where it's coming from. A short while later. So you're a detective. We could really use your help. That's right, Detective Guy at your service. Why do you have the dog? This is my detective partner, Cleo, the clue-sniffing dog. Cleo can find clues that we humans can't. You're serious? Absolutely. Hello, Billis. Cleo and I have solved many challenging cases together. When the police were baffled, without Cleo's skill, it would have been impossible to get the job done. Excuse me, Beekeeper. Do you mind telling me exactly what you need a detective for? Didn't you hear the commotion? When the light suddenly went out, somebody was murdered. A what? Murdered? Rosetta di Montega is my hotel, and I'll assist you in any way I can. What do you want to know first? You seem like you know what you're doing, but there's no harm in going over the basics as a refresher. Use the left stick to move. Holding down the left trigger will make you move faster. Talk to someone, press A. A button will select a dialogue option. Press menu to access the menu and see the case file. Then press B to close the menu. If you need a hint about what to do next, you can access the hint function via the menu. An illustrated map of this area can be found in the menu too. Lastly, you can use the menu to save your game. I don't know much more than you, but I'll fill you in on what I do know. You already told me yourself. You and Cleo are the detectives who were sent here to help Senior Billy Kramer. Now you're here, and you have the chance to help him. Are you ready? The small Alpine hotel is called the Cressetta di Montega. It was originally a ski lodge, and it's way up high in the mountains, many kilometers away from the nearest town. Billy Kramer Sr. reserved this place to hold his corporate holiday party. This big room is the lounge. The den is to the far left, and up the hall. You'll find Mr. Kramer in there. The guest quarters are through the door just up from here. My office is the far right lower door, but I don't want you snooping around those areas yet. Outside is a huge mountain ridge. Expanse full of snow and ice. It's what our hotel is named after. You'd be crazy to go wandering around out there without wearing some crampons? What's a crampon? The dead body is Billy Kramer I, the president and CEO of Activision Games. His company produces the widely successful Paladin Dream franchise. Mr. Kramer was a very prominent, wealthy businessman. This holiday was supposed to be celebrating the sale of his company to the computer conglomerate Comp Inc. for an enormous amount of money, but he's now dead. He contacted us in his hour of need, but we arrived too late. You'll find Billy Kramer's body in the den. It's the room past the fireplace, to the far left, and up the hall. I'd appreciate if you would go in there and examine the body as soon as possible. We need you to find out who killed him. This place is isolated enough that it would take too long to wait for the police to arrive. I've left everything untouched, so you and Cleo can search for clues. I've sent all the other hotel guests back to their rooms, so that you can investigate without any distractions. The senior Billy Kramer invited 6 guests to his big blowout party. You'll find them all waiting in guest quarters. A seventh person also crashed the party as an uninvited guest. I put them in the last spare room. Including myself, there are 8 of us here at the Cressetta di Montega Hotel. The first thing to do is go into the den and look over the body. See what you can discover. After that, depending on what you find, I'll let you go interview our other hotel guests. Let's go! Hey, I told you to stay out of my private office until you've done some investigating. Leo found a clue. The title of this book is Ghost Legends of the Alps. One of the saddest and spookiest Alpine legends is the tragic tale of the White Lady. Supposed encounters with the White Lady ghost date back hundreds of years in the most remote parts of this isolated mountainous region. During the 8th century, there lived a local countrywoman who was married to a brave paladin knight. One day, her husband left to go fight honorably in the Crusades. The bride vowed to wait patiently for his triumphant return. She adorned a hooded white robe and shawl which covered her face so that no other man would look upon her until that day. She waited patiently, singing beautiful songs about the glory of faith, which echoed into the valley villages below the tall peaks. Days of waiting turned into months, into years, and eventually decades. Finally, one night, she encountered a traveling gypsy fortune teller in the mountains and inquired about what happened to her crusading husband. The fortune teller's magic revealed that the husband she had remained faithful to for all this time had abandoned her. The knight had married the princess of an exotic, faraway kingdom, betraying her faith and leaving her alone in the world. What a scumbag. Angered and disgusted, it was said that the poor woman in white offered her soul to the devil that night. Though she disappeared from the sights of the local village marketplaces, the people now heard the chilling melodies of accursed hymns, evil whisperings throughout the Rocky Mountain walls. To this day, the White Lady remains as a legendary harbinger of death in the Italian Alps. Wayward skiers, explorers, and other unlucky residents have claimed to see a faceless woman in a white robe and shawl, or hear dark, ghostly singing around the time of an unfortunate death in the mountains. Superstitious locals know better than to travel outside during a blizzard at night, when the White Lady is bound to be out, seeking new souls to join her eternal misery. Oof. The clue is saved at your case file. Make sure we're not missing anything. Cleo found a clue. This is the victim's laptop. It must have shut down during the power outage, and the battery is dead. Looks like a brand new complete system right out of the box, with excellent hardware specs, complete with these speakers. Electricity for these speakers shut off during the blackout too, so there's no way that ghostly singing in the dark could have been coming from this computer. Cleo found a clue. On the other side of this window is a steep mountain cliff. There's no way that somebody could have entered this room from the outside. Boo earns. Good morning, Boo. That means that the murderer is someone who is still in this hotel. Each of the 8 inhabitants are suspects. I need to find out who had a motive for killing the senior Billy Kramer, and where each person was during the blackout. The clue is saved to your case file. The body of the murdered victim, Billy Kramer I. His expensive suit is stained with blood from the dagger wound in his back. The world-famous businessman wrote to Cleo and I in his hour of need, but the travel arrangements weren't fast enough, and we arrived too late to protect him. Judging by his clothes and by the position of the dagger, it looks though he was stabbed in the middle of a business meeting. If he had his back to the killer, that suggests the murderer was someone who knew him well. His guard was down. But then, why would he write to us about death threats coming from someone in his inner circle? Alright, we haven't found any treats yet. Coffee all over myself. It says pet the cat again. I'm not talking to the dog. We usually don't even allow pets in this hotel. What do you deduce about the case? Now that you've had some time to start investigating, if you're really an ace detective, then you should at least be able to tell me some basic facts about what happened. First, what was the murder weapon that killed Billy Kramer? Dagger. He was killed by a stab into his back from what looks like a Roman dagger. Like the death of an emperor, I see. Leo and I are determined to get to the bottom of it. We owe that much. One more question, just to make sure there's no way around it. You're absolutely sure that the murderer has to be someone inside the hotel? Could an outside assassin have entered through the windows in the den, for example? It's an insider. The murderer is an insider. The den windows open over a steep ledge. There's no way somebody could have entered the room from outside. The only way into this hotel is through the front door, here in the lounge, which means that the murderer is one of the 8 hotel inhabitants. I can't dispute the facts. Your logic is ice cold. Alright, I'll step aside. It seems absolutely necessary for you to interview my hotel guests. Go through this door and you'll find the guest chambers. You can interview me too, if you really think I have something to hide. Thanks, appreciate your cooperation. You do realize that this mountain ridge is haunted though, right? Theo and I stumbled upon a book about an alpine folklore containing that story about the White Lady ghost legend, if that's what you mean. At the risk of sounding superstitious, did you hear any of the ghostly singing right before the murder happened? I heard something, that's all I can say. Good luck! Alright, Cleo, it's time to go interview some suspects. Can't go in her room yet. Stay out of my private office. Fine. Now we can meet the people in the victim's inner circle. Maybe I can find out who knows about the letter we received. You've unlocked a new area. Check the menu for an updated map. Good evening, sub. Cleo found a doggy bag. No, Cleo, we don't have time to eat now. We've got a mystery to solve. We'll take the doggy bag with us. After we solve the case, I promise you'll get an amazing treat. I bet there are at least 25 doggy bags like this hidden all over the area. Let's see how many we can find. Wow. That animal doesn't look like much of a guard dog. Hey, buddy. If you start snooping through my stuff, it's gonna be your lights out next. Suspect added to case file. The name's Ty, and I served the senior Billy Kramer as his personal bodyguard. Mr. Kramer hired me after my professional boxing career ended. I've worked for him ever since. I gotta give him credit for taking me in after I got knocked out in the ring for the last time. How many opportunities are there for a guy who's had as many concussions as I have? Of course, he never paid real well. It wasn't all that bad flying around with a company jet, but it'd be nice to be able to afford a decent car of my own. Invisible. You gotta hand it to Billy Kramer. He may look like a pork chop, but when it came to the negotiating table, that man was the heavyweight world champion. Game over, man. You said there's a letter. What letter? I don't know about what you're talking about. I'm not afraid of you, and I'm not spewing to you about any letter involving my boss. Yeah, I heard about the ghost legend surrounding this hotel from the innkeeper. I'm a tough guy, but that ghost stuff terrifies me. Clowns, too. Billy Kramer's weird daughter showed up in one of her spooky costumes and knocked the wits out of me. Hello, GoldenEye. There I was, guarding the door from the lounge to the den, and I was supposed to, when suddenly the door quietly opened, and I was startled by what I saw. Game over. Hello, horror. I realized it must have been his daughter, the costume designer, in one of her Halloween costumes she always wears. Her costume looked like the White Lady in the ghost legend the innkeeper mentioned. I tried to play it cool and not look scared. but you won't see me messing with ghosts. Besides, I could still hear my boss talking away in the den.
30 to 40% return.
After that, I tried to forget about the ghost and kept watch outside the door while my boss and his meetings with the lawyer ended. I never saw anyone else enter or leave the den after that. Later, after the lights went out, the talking room stopped. Nervously, I opened the door to check on senior Mr. Kramer. He was dead. Where was I when the lights went out? I was outside the den, guarding the entrance the whole time, just like my boss wanted. Since that former employee showed up and crashed Mr. Kramer's party, we insisted that I didn't let any more unwanted intruders see him. You hear that creepy ghost singing that started when the lights went out? I tried to cover my ears and drown out that horribly ghost singing. I didn't want that ghost entering my dreams when I'm sleeping. There's no way somebody could have gotten past me into the den when the lights were out. I stood guard the whole time. I think his daughter Lana killed him. She hasn't even left her room since the lights went out. She's the only one around here who dresses up in costumes, so it had to have been her. That's all for now. What is the bodyguard guarding? Seems like there's something he's hiding. Maybe we can somehow find a way to make him tell us everything he knows. Are you two here to solve my boss's murder? Activision Games and its employees are depending on you. My name is Carol Winters, and I was assistant to the senior Billy Kramer. As you must know by now, he was one of the most powerful people in the video game industry, if not of all software and entertainment. Billy was known as a man who drove a hard bargain, but he always took good care of his lowly secretary anyway. I'm just concerned about what will happen to Activision Games and our thousands of employees in the face of this buyout deal with Comp Inc. Billy was responsible for the well-being of many people. Hopefully his son has inherited his father's capable leadership skills, though honestly, I have my doubts. Billy got all kinds of threatening notes. He may not have taken them seriously, but I did. At least one person who said they were going to kill him was serious about it. If you're as good as a detective as I've heard, then you'll be able to figure out who murdered him. I don't believe in ghosts or paladins of any of that stuff, or paladins of any of that stuff. But I did hear the singing earlier when the lights went out. There's something strange about the Cresta de Montega Hotel. That's all I can say. Billy had been here before, along with the creative director, Jerry Small, as well as Russell Gallant, the deceased creative genius. It was 2 years ago. He had me book their arrangements. Billy never talked about wanting to return. Hello, Halvor, to this hotel, specifically. It was the Comp Inc. attorney, Ned Dillman, who talked him into it. When the lights went out, I was here in my room, relaxing. At my age, I don't have the energy that I used to have. This was supposed to be like a vacation. I'd gone downstairs to share a grappa toast with the victim's daughter, Lana, and then I came back up here. I was going to write a new diary entry. Billy had a lot of enemies. Any number of people at Hacktivision Games might have had it in for him, even with the company's stock price as high as it was. But I'm also wondering about Ned Dillman, the lawyer from Comp Inc. What if he thought Hacktivision's stock price was a little too high? Could he have killed him over a negotiating dispute with the buyout? No more questions. He's dead. This is crazy. He's really dead. What's going to happen to the Paladin Dream game franchise now? Suspect added to the case file, Jerry Small, creative director at Hacktivision Games. I started at Hacktivision Games as a quality assurance tester and rose to the rank of creative director after the late Lord Russell Gallant passed on. I reported directly to Billy Kramer. To be honest, I don't think the senior Billy Kramer or his son cared about what I did with the Paladin Dream franchise, as long as it continued to make money hand over fist. So when I heard that he intended to sell the company to Comp Inc., it put my job in jeopardy. Paladin Dream is Hacktivision's cash cow. What happens to the fans when Comp Inc. starts messing up the game? They'd be fools to think they could do it without me. What exactly did this letter say? Well, my boss did make a lot of people upset, and some of them gave him feedback about it. I don't know anything about what you're talking about, though. I heard the ghostly singing just before the body was discovered. It was spooky. Something out of a video game like Paladin Dream. Did you know that 2 years ago, I was at the same little hotel with Billy and Lord Russell Gallant, the deceased game creator? Can that be a coincidence? 2 years ago. Just got back from my walk around the mountain ridge. Is my wife still out skiing with the trainer? Yeah, they're on the slopes with Mike and Sarah Jones. After this company retreat ends, I'll be putting everything on mandatory forced overtime to make sure our new game doesn't miss the shift date. What's happened to you, Billy? When you hired me years ago, you were so passionate about making great games. Now it's all about profits. Someone's got to make sure we don't miss our shift date. You creative type don't know the difference between a balance sheet and a bed sheet. You should take some time off work yourself. The first time we went to this resort 10 years ago, I found something when I was exploring the mountains that could make a guy like me rich. You found what? That's right. When you're passionate and dedicated, sometimes the inspiration just comes and the wealth finds you. I could use some of that wealth about now. A game tester's salary isn't exactly enormous. Follow your dreams. You never know what treasures you might find. There's treasure hidden on this mountain for anyone with the bravery to chase after it. You're saying you found treasures here on this remote mountain peak? Sure. Take a leap of faith. Trust me. Alright, that's enough blathering from you two. There's treasure on the mountain. I still don't know what Lord Gallant meant by that little speech. I was in this room when it happened. I came on this trip in hopes of making one last plea with my boss not to sell the company. But he and the company lawyer spent hours negotiating every last detail. Unfortunately, I never had the courage to barge in there, past his bodyguard. They say that to solve a murder mystery, you're supposed to look at who benefits from the death. In this case, the answer to that question is easy. The beneficiary is his son, Billy Kramer II. With his father murdered, now Billy Kramer Jr. is in line to take over the company, and he can do whatever he wants. It's not fair. Whether it's under Comp Inc. or under Billy Kramer's poor leadership, will probably chase away all the fans, and I'll be out of a job. The creative director seems on edge. Seems like there's something he's hiding. Maybe we can somehow find a way to make him tell us. been in those 3 rooms. Based on the innkeeper's description, the victim's bedroom must be the big one at the other end of the hall. Emperor Suite, behind the blue rug. This is the door to the guest room where the victim was staying. It's locked. That's odd. I wonder if the innkeeper has a master key. Let's go see. Are you saying that I'm a suspect too? What connection could I possibly have to these American corporate types? Billy Kramer and his staff booked this hotel for the week. I was told that they were celebrating some kind of corporate merger. I recognized him and one of the other guests from seeing them here 2 years ago. Otherwise, this place doesn't get many visitors. Not a single ghostly doing have been happening around these parts anyway. I certainly wasn't privy to the inner workings of a businessman like Billy Kramer. But if you want to find out more, you should go take a look in his bedroom upstairs. Naturally, he booked the Emperor Suite for himself. It's the big room upstairs at the end of the hall. Oh, was the victim's bedroom locked? Well, you've read the book about the White Lady spirit hunting this area. There's been a lot of mysterious circumstances at this hotel surrounding the ghost legend, but this is the first time somebody's ever died because of it. Just be careful, detective, especially with the snowstorm going on. I was at the front desk earlier, at the time when the lights went out. I heard that horrible singing, hee-haw-haw-haw. I'm suspicious of the one staying in guest room 3. The one they call creative director named Gary Small. 2 years ago, Mr. Small was here at the hotel with Billy Kramer, as well as the original creator of Paladin Dream, Russell Gallant. Now Kramer and Gallant are both dead. Jerry Small kept muttering something about the parchment and treasure in the mountain. I had to keep warning him not to venture outside the hotel without crampons. What is a crampon? I think he's out of his mind. Ah, interesting. They're kind of like, way advanced snowshoes with big spikes. That is a crampon. A master key. Why do you need the master key? I don't want you going into my office or the basement. Those areas aren't meant for guests. I need the key so I can enter the murder victim's bedroom. Very well, just be careful wandering around in this old hotel. What happened to the key? It's gone. Oh, that's right. The attorney, Ned Dillman, asked me if he could borrow it earlier, so I gave it to him. You should ask him what he did with the master key. The same key also unlocks my office, which leads to the hotel basement. Thank you. A suspect stand on floor of 8. That is not the attorney. That is not the attorney. That's not the attorney. We'll go this room first. It's a pink slip. This memo details Executive Sandra Berg being terminated from Hacktivision by the murder victim. The memo accuses her of setting her boss a death threat, and as a cause of her firing, she's called a danger to the company and buyout bid from company. Signed, Billy. Interesting. Illumina, you've been here. That's sus. You're right, Cleo. The letter we received was signed William A. Kramer, or William Kramer. But if the man called himself Billy and signed his official paperwork that way, would that mean the letter we received really wasn't from him? Did somebody else impersonate Billy Kramer and send us that letter? The clue was saved to your case file. I should have never come here. This was a mistake. A professional like me should have known better. Suspect added to the case file. Executive Director of Sales. Senior Billy Kramer was my boss at Hacktivision Games. I worked there for 3 years until what happened recently. Mr. Kramer poached me from his largest competition by making me a deal that was too good to turn down, including a provision for a very large bonus in the event that the company was sold. I was the one who initially introduced Billy Kramer to Comp Inc. and set up the initial meeting with their acquisition lawyer, Ned Dillman. After several rounds of negotiations, Mr. Kramer told me he received a promising offer. The next thing I knew, I was fired. The whole thing was ridiculous. I don't care what that greedy bastard or his fool of a son have to say about it. Let's see if... I met with Billy a couple of hours before the lights went out. You can't fire me. If it wasn't for me, this big buyout deal wouldn't even be on the table. Well, Sandra, if you have the audacity to send me a death threat, then that's what happens, hee hee. This is ridiculous. You have no proof that I wrote you that note. Why don't you at least let me read it? Look at yourself. You're crazy enough to show up at this private party as an uninvited guest, a private party for a firm that you no longer work at. How do you even find out about this event anyway? Who told you? Never mind. Mark my words, Billy. I'm gonna get the bonus you promised me, or there's no telling what I'll do to you. Hi, show this unhinged woman out of here. Now, do your job. Alright, you heard Mr. Kramer. Miss Bird, I'm gonna need to ask you to leave. I knew he was a penny pincher, but I didn't think he'd stoop so low to get out of paying a finder's fee. Coming all this way to Italy to confront my own boss was a horrible idea, no matter how unfair the situation is. Are you talking about the death threat? Billy Kramer fired me because he said that he received a death threat and blamed me for it. That was a lie. Why would I have wanted to kill my boss? Even if I sent my boss a death threat, it's not like he took that stuff seriously. Activision customers sent him threatening notes every time we raised our price, and he didn't even bat an eye. I heard that spooky scene when the lights went out, but I don't believe in ghosts. Kramer's bodyguard, Ty, is terrified of ghosts, and Kramer's daughter worked as a costume designer on some horror flicks. When the lights went out, I was downstairs in the lounge. I was fuming over my lost bonus. I needed the money to pay off my mortgage. I saw you and your dog as you both walked into the front door. Senior Mr. Kramer's secretary, Carol Winters, may look like a sweet old lady, but appearances can be deceiving. Carol knew everything about what went on with Senior Billy Kramer, and she wrote it all down in her diary. Carol Winters was never happy about the buyout, and always concerned about how it would affect Hacktivision's thousands of employees. Nothing else for now. It's 5 of 8. You again, Detective? I'm sick of my time being wasted like this. My father was the founder and president of the world-famous Hacktivision Games. Now that he's gone, the company passes on to me. What am I gonna do without Daddy? How am I supposed to run the company on my own? I should have spent more time paying attention in those meetings and less time watching 1980s police dog cartoons. You're asking whether my father is receiving any strange letters? Of course he did. All kinds of angry gamers wrote complaints all the time. What do you expect? He never took anything that came in the mail seriously. Of course, it was all just business to him. And he certainly wouldn't have called on some two-bit detective with a dog and flown them out to our private blowout party here in the Alps. My father booked this hotel 2 years ago, too. He didn't say anything about it being haunted back then. Between you and I, Daddy's big burly bodyguard, Ty, is absolutely terrified of ghosts. Clowns, too. Back at the office, we used to play spooky pranks on him when I was supposed to be working. Where was I when the lights went out? Are you kidding? I was standing there right in the front of you in the lounge entrance. What kind of detective are you? How long until the storm stops and the real police show up? Sandra Berg, the former Hacktivision executive, wanted my father dead. She even said so herself. My father recently terminated her, and for good reason. I can't believe she had the audacity to show up here and protest. How Sandra even found out about this place is a mystery to me, but my father had Ty promptly throw her out. He said that Sandra Berg came here to protest being fired. Why would she do that? That's our company policy is none of your business. I don't have to answer it to you. You're not even a cop. Such a nosy amateur detective. Sorry for your loss, bruh. Why isn't the victim's son telling me the whole truth? Who is he protecting? Seems like there's something he's hiding. Activision Games company balance sheet. Document shows details of the company buyout, Comp Inc. agreed to buy the company's stock at an all-time high price. If this deal went through, it would have made Billy Kramer one of the richest people alive. Comp Inc. would even have taken out a bank loan to cover the costs. There's a provision for Sandra Berg to get a big cut of the deal, but Activision's other executives and thousands of employees would have been at the mercy of their new owner. The terms of the deal are great for Billy Kramer, good for Miss Berg, and very risky for everyone else involved. Could the solution to the senior Billy Kramer's murder be hidden in the fine print somewhere? Who is saying? Now that there's been a suspicious death, I guess we do need a detective here after all. Suspect added to the case file, Ned Dillman, Esquire, corporate buyout agreement lawyer for Comp Inc. There's nothing I can tell you about Billy Kramer, founder and president of Hacktivision, that you can't find on the company stock report. I was proud to sit on the other side of the desk when him working for Comp Inc. We had recently finalized the terms of the deal. Comp Inc. had agreed to buy Hacktivision for billions of dollars, and the senior Mr. Kramer was poised to become one of the world's richest men. Billy Kramer's finest at the finesse at the negotiating table was second to none. He pushed the envelope whenever he could and drove a hard bargain. But my employer, the world's leading computer conglomerate, has deep financial coffers. I even helped him organize this trip to the Alps as a celebration for him and his accomplishments. I hoped that the mountain air and stiff drink would ease his ruthless disposition, but found out that the man doesn't ski and he doesn't drink. Yes, you mentioned earlier that you'd received a letter in the mail from Mr. Lake Kramer. He denied it. Even after his untimely death, I still maintain my stance that Billy Kramer never would have sent a letter to a detective. This is a man who received mountains of hate mail. from Angry Gamers and didn't bat an eye. I can't say I'm surprised that somebody wanted to kill Billy, but I am surprised that he would seriously worry about it. Are you arguing that there's a strong case for his death being some kind of supernatural murder? Blackout, ghostly seeming, the legend of the White Lady, a Parson's curse. This is definitely outside my specialization. One of the innkeeper certainly seems to take it seriously. When the lights in the hotel went out, I was with you, Detective. The only person who was near the den at the time was Billy Kramer's senior bodyguard, Ty. If Ty wanted to kill his employer, he could have taken him down with a single punch. He wouldn't have needed a Roman dagger to do it. Unless he wanted to be extra devious, I guess. I don't think Ty's got the wits for that. The innkeeper, Anna Russo, seems to be going through a lot of trouble over this supposed ghost legend. I don't know what to think about that. Do you think it's possible that she somehow concocted this supernatural murder to drum up attention for this little hotel? As you can see, it's not exactly a popular destination. I'd keep an eye on that innkeeper if I was in your position, Detective. You're looking for the hotel key. I borrowed it from the innkeeper earlier. I was planning to lock up the den with the dead body in it until you were ready to investigate. The innkeeper said I could have it to look for clues. I don't see a search warrant or even an official police badge. Let me remind you that any business documents and technical equipment found in this hotel are property of Hacktivision Games and Comp Inc. Don't even think about laying one finger on my briefcase without producing the proper paperwork. All I want to do is figure out who murdered Billy Kramer. I have no personal interest in the affair other than bringing the killer to justice. Very well, the master key is yours. Wait, it's not in my pocket. Someone took it from me. Senior Billy Kramer's secretary, Carol Winters, came up to me and started talking. I got distracted. Yes, I think precisely that Carol Winters took the hotel key. If you want to find it, you should ask her about it next. Why a mere secretary would take an interest in such important affairs is beyond me, though. Alright, that's 7 of 8. Alright, I guess let's go see if we can get the key. You looking for the hotel key? Alright, it's true. I swiped it from Ned Dillman when he wasn't looking. I used it to lock Billy's hotel room after his death. I suppose a private kid like you wouldn't understand why someone like me would do that, do you? Alright, I took the hotel master key to protect Billy and to protect the company after his death. Activision Games is filled with company secrets, some of which Billy kept with him in his hotel bedroom. The company's secrets need to stay private, no matter what. Who knows what would happen if all this classified information got into the press? It would be chaotic. It could even affect the company employees or selling the company. But now that Billy's dead, we need you to investigate what happened. Here, take the hotel key and unlock the door to the Empire Suite upstairs. No matter what, just find out who murdered my boss. There, you got the key. You're right, Cleo. Let's open the door to the victim's room and search for clues. No more questions. Oh wait, we just didn't do that. Victim's daughter. Look at her skin. She's dead. There's been another murder. He's a zombie. How long was I asleep? Who are you? You don't look like you work for Hacktivision. Suspect added. I guess my makeup is pretty convincing. I had you fooled. You're saying that my father is dead? He's been murdered? That's what this is all about? She didn't even know. Wow. I'm sorry. My tears must be ruining my makeup. Gosh, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to react. He and I weren't exactly close, but I never wished something like this on him. My father spent all his time devoted to running Hacktivision games, and was absentee for most of my life. Sometimes I wondered if he even knew I was alive. I was hoping that after he sold his company to Comp Inc., that his attitude would change. That's why I'm here, at this party, and why I'm wearing this zombie makeup. I was planning to trick him into thinking I was dead, and hope it might get him to rearrange his priorities a little, before I fell asleep in my hotel room. I'm a professional costume designer, after all. My brother Billy Jr. joined Hacktivision, but I don't want any part in my father's ruthless business practices. Yeah, my father got lots of death threats, all of the time. Lots of nerd rage over the high prices and microtransactions mostly. He never took anything like that seriously. He always kept that big, burly bodyguard Ty around, so nobody messed with him. My dad had enemies. I'm not gonna lie. It's because of the way he treated people. I'll save you some time and tell you to your face that he and I weren't on the best of terms. I heard the innkeeper Anne talking about this area being haunted. I spend most of my time on movie sets in the city. This is my first time up in the high mountains. It's interesting because several months ago, I received an anonymous commission to make a costume that looked like the ghost in that Alpine legend, the White Lady. Yeah, that was it. I even brought some costumes with me on this trip. There's not much space in these little hotel rooms, so Anna kindly agreed to store them in the hotel basement. Gotta go there.
SMS received.
Hello, Vlad. I owe you that, redemption. I meant to send it yesterday. I will fix that. I don't even know my father had died. I was in here asleep. Or was I drugged, I wonder. I love my wine as much as the next gal, but even in the past, when I drank that much, I've never been conked out like this before. Just quit. I didn't remove it. It's on my spreadsheet. Earlier today, I was drinking Grappa with my dad's secretary, Carol, to celebrate the buyout deal. If someone drugged a bottle of Grappa, how come I'm the only one who was affected by it? If you can find the bottle of Grappa. What's Grappa? It's a brandy. You can let me know if somebody put something in it. One way or the other, it sounds like I slept through these horrific events. My father surrounded himself with aggressive business types. That was his way. He never worried that somebody in his circle would be even more unscrupulous than he was. But the way he took advantage of people was totally reprehensible. He called it negotiating, but it was really just finding ways to make people indebted to him so he could control them. Take Ty, my dad's bodyguard, for example. He knew Ty was desperate after Ty's boxing career ended, and he paid him as little as possible. If a dangerous man like Ty needed money and resented my father, there's no telling what he might stoop to do. I'm sorry for your loss. We can go in here now. Alright, we can still save there. Let's see what secrets are hiding in the Emperor's suite. You unlocked a new area. Check the map. Whoa. What the heck? Oh, 16. 17's outside. Jeez. This is a death threat sent to the murder victim. It's a warning to Billy that if he sells out Hacktivision to Comp Inc., his life will be in danger. No matter how ruthless and aggressive you are at business, there's always going to be someone even more ruthless and aggressive than you.
Oh, what an idiot!
Hello, Ima. Welcome to Murders. The writing is very explicit. It contains detailed knowledge of Hacktivision's inner workings. Who wrote this? The clue is saved to your case file. Cleo deserves a treat. The folder is full of photographs of Billy Kramer, taken from his office. What is he doing? Looks like he's at his desk, looking at a balance sheet, and some kind of threatening note. He's writing somebody a notice of termination, a pink slip. We already found the balance sheet. It's just like the threatening note we found. We recovered the pink slip. This must be the memo that Billy Kramer wrote to fire Sandra. You haven't had a game over yet. So this proves he fired Sandra Berg after looking at the balance sheet. And later, he used the death threat as an excuse. He took the picture. What were they looking to get out of it? 1125 doggy bags. Right now, it's hard to build up a case against any one suspect based on where they were when the lights went out. According to the suspect testimonies, the victim was alone in the den with his bodyguard just outside the room. Everyone else was either in the lounge or alone in their bedrooms. It seems impossible that anyone could sneak past Ty into the den to kill Billy when the lights went out, unless Ty himself is a murderer. Murderer, of course. You're gonna slip and get hurt out there. Where do you think you're going? Alright, so we can't go outside yet. Crampons will allow us to explore the snowy, icy mountain ridge outside. Nice. Now we can go explore the area around the hotel. Yes, the first murder game is in CP still. These are good games. Well, that's good. Hotel logbook. This shows all the guests who have stayed in the Cresti di Montega Hotel. Now that's interesting. The place used to be a thriving tourist destination, but since 2 years ago, the attendance has been very sparse. Some of the few guests staying here have even left the hotel early, before their booked vacation times were finished. I mean, as far as I know, I haven't committed a murder. I wonder why. Accidents do happen. This hotel used to have a lovely bar and restaurant down here. I want to explore this whole room first. Grappa Gopra. This must be the special bottle of grappa that the victim's daughter, Luna Kramer, was drinking from earlier. She said that she drank a lot and then fell asleep. She thought it might be drugged. What do you think, Cleo? You're saying it's clean? Alright, Cleo, if you say this bottle's clean, then it's clean. That's interesting. Doesn't look like any more doggy bags. It's in the microwave. Police Dog comic book. Who reads this? The victim's son said he liked that show, but I'm surprised he'd take something like this with him on an important trip. Make sure there's no more doggy bags. 16 to 25. Apparatus is where the electrical fuses for the hotel are stored. I wonder what's the computer for. Everything seems to be running okay now. This must be Lana Kramer's box full of the costumes she's working on. Good idea, Cleo. I wonder if I could use these costumes as disguises to get more information out of the suspects. The bodyguard's creative director and the victim's son were all especially dodgy. Maybe this will help us with those three suspects in particular. And additional doggy bags. E-course. Paladin, Clown. We need to do them all, so we'll start with Paladin. Disguise command added to the main menu. Ah, okay. How do I get out of here? Let's see if I can use these costume disguises to get more information. You're right, Cleo. I've got to be careful not to look like a complete fool. There's so much snow that it's hard to see. You gotta be careful about getting turned around while exploring the mountain range. That was bright. It's a receipt for an expensive dinner for two at Steakhouse in Reno. What's it doing way out here in the snow? It's lucky that Cleo managed to find it at all. The bill was paid by the comp ink attorney, Ned, who was his dinner guest. Man, how many... rooms are out here? 20. How far does this go? It doesn't say where I am. I wonder if this is repeating. It is repeating. Interesting. Alright, so we'll take the upper levels now. Notebook belongs to somebody working at Activision Games. 2 months ago, suggestion of the company lawyer, we booked the same Italian Alp hotel for the company holiday party. Maybe it means symbolic of all the success Activision has had since then? I don't see Sandra Berg's name on the guest list for the Activision company holiday party though. I wonder why she hasn't been included. It must have been an oversight. I told Sandra about the party and gave her an invitation myself. After all, it's because of the deal she brokered that this whole thing is happening. Dated last month. My boss, Mr. Bill, is accustomed to reading angry letters from gamers that doesn't know a serious threat when he sees one that he doesn't know. Recently, he received a threatening note which warned that he followed through and sold the company to Comp Inc. He should fear for his life. So I'm looking for a way to protect Mr. Kramer. He'd be upset if I got the police involved, so I searched through his contacts for someone that might be able to help. I found a detective who solved Lord Russell Gallant's murder in Vermont. A Mr. Guy and Cleo. Maybe they could help us again by protecting the senior Kramer now. I even embezzled some money from my boss to pay for their flights to the company party in the Alps. It was the only way to reach the detectives in time. At least I hope it will be fast enough. Every day, the danger increases. Interesting. Who wrote this? Whoever it was is responsible for impersonating Billy Kramer and writing to us, Cleo. The clue is safe here this way. Alright, let's look for some more. One more pass. Make sure we're not missing any doggy treats. So we've been in every room. Sunshine? Oh, it was supposed to be murder. I thought I updated it. Oh well, we'll leave it as sunshine. You are my sunshine, my sunshine. What was that? Oh, Link's encounter. Okay. not look like there's any more doggy bags out here. So you're a paladin, right? The White Lady Spirit's long-lost husband has returned. Are you here to guide me to the sacred treasure? No, I don't think so. Where are the missing doggy bags? How'd I miss this one? 22. So, if you're smart, then why are you dressed like you're in a video game? Game over, I guess. You look like you should be looking for a job as a promotional talent at one of your big expo booths. Is that what you're going for? The dog ate my resume? Ooh. A paladin. Am I dreaming? Can this be a mystical sign from Lord Russell Gallant, the original game creator who is deceased? What does Lord Gallant want from me? This is working. He's actually taken my paladin disguise seriously. Now we can discover what he's been hiding. As the creative director for Paladin Dream, I've done everything I can to help build on what Lord Russell Gallant started. Years ago, I was at this same mountain hotel with him, and Billy Kramer and I. Billy Kramer won. Can that be a coincidence? He and I had this strange conversation where he claimed there was treasure hidden on the mountain. It didn't quite make sense to me. Lord Gallant loved riddles. He was just a game designer after all. I'm just not that great at solving riddles, are you? Of course Billy was all business, as always, and he wouldn't have any of it. And I wonder if there really is something to what Lord Gallant said. All I hope is that I've at least made Lord Gallant proud with my dedication to Paladin Dream. Forgive me, Lord Gallant. I was the one who wrote the death threat to Billy Kramer. Is the death threat referencing the letter we received from the murder victim? He must mean the threatening note we found in the victim's bedroom. This is all my fault. If I hadn't been foolish enough to write that death threat for my boss, maybe none of this would have happened. Well, that was you. Why did you do it? When Hacktivision Games was to be sold to Comp Inc., my job suddenly became in jeopardy. I worked my way up from being only a humble game tester to the creative director for the Paladin Dream game franchise. It's not fair. I know that. Everyone knows Comp Inc. bought the company because that game's franchise is so lucrative. That's the whole reason this big buyout deal happened. Sure, it's great for business, but what happens to the game when the new owners let me go? Paladin Dream needs me. I'm the one who knew Lord Russell Gallant the best, and I'm the only one capable of thinking like him and making the right decisions. That's why I sent my boss that death threat. I wanted to make it seem like selling the company would put his life in danger, in addition to just my job. I guess someone really did plan to kill Billy Kramer all along. If Detective Guy knew I sent my boss a death threat, then he'd suspect me as the murderer, so I'm not inclined to help him. But if you really are a legendary paladin from Lord Gallant's game, then maybe you should have this. It hasn't done me any good. The parchment contains a riddle that Lord Russell Gallant gave me. Take this parchment containing the riddle. Maybe it will be more use to you than it's been to me. Let's read the first line. Stand where light and heat once burned next to frozen feet. Just don't show this riddle to that nosy detective. Alright, that's everyone downstairs. I didn't miss a beat bag in here. Huh? Who are you? I'm the legendary dreaming paladin of yore. Hey, is that my paladin costume? I'm planning to give it to Gary Small when the new game comes out. Yeah. Take that off, you dork. Don't call me a dork. I strongly advise you to take off that paladin costume, detective. With the upcoming buyout of Hacktivision Games, Comp Inc. will soon acquire all rights to the Paladin Dream game franchise, including the character likeness. So you'll be infringing on our copyright and liable for punitive damages, in addition to looking like a complete buffoon. He's got me there. Gary Small might get a raise out of that paladin costume, but I'm not impressed. We need a real police officer on this case, not a knight in shining armor, and certainly not a bumbling amateur detective. Whatever, dude. Hello, Jordan. Why in the world are you dressed like that, detective? Nay, madame. Thou art wrong in thine assumption. Stop playing dress up and start playing detective, okay? Fine. Let's take another look at that riddle and see if we can find anything that might solve this murder mystery. Where is the location on that rhyme describes? Stand where light and heat once burned next to frozen feet. This fireplace out in the snow seems to be the spot mentioned in Lord Gallen's riddle. But what happened next? Chase after your spirit, guide to the leap of faith down the mountainside. Chase after your spirit guide. The Alpine Lynx, that's it. Leo, your dog. Go after that cat. Where'd it go? Look, Leo, there's a lynx near the mountain ledge. What's it doing? Jump! That must be the leap of faith. Yikes, let's see what happens. Touchdown. That was close. A soft, deep cushion of snow here broke our fall. Look, the mountain has a secret cave hidden by the walls of the mountain. We're going to save it on 2. You unlocked a new area. Check the map. Let's see what Lord Gallant's riddle says next. Behind the statue in this cave lies a secret to save. Oh, geez. Secret chamber. I don't want to be there yet. Some climbing rope. This will be useful when we need to get out of this cave and back to the hotel. That's 25. Found all the doggy bags. I need to take a restroom break. I'll be right back. All right, we found all the doggy bags. Cease Games Designer's Lord Russell Gallant's journal, dated 2 years ago. My dear friend, if you're reading this, then it means you solved my riddle. Congratulations. When I was exploring the mountain ridge, I fell and happened on this entrance to this cave. Looks to be an old Christian hermitage from medieval times. Incredible dream I experienced in this cave became the basis for my game, Paladin Dream, which went on to make me very wealthy. So you see, the true meaning of my riddle is that imagination is priceless. May chasing your dream lead to your fortune, like it did for me. But that's a little too hokey. Then there's also something for you in that treasure chest. I've left it for you, Gary. I know you'll take better care of it than anyone. Paladin sword was found. This isn't going to help us solve the mystery. The blade's not even sharp. Might make a good souvenir, though. Alright, nothing else to find. This. I feel sleepy all of a sudden. What's happening? Why am I dressed like a paladin? Combat. What? Yeah, I forgot to change it, apparently. Why do I eat dog food? Ooh. I don't think I meant to do that. Oh well. We're gonna bark. Cleo's barking scares the enemy. I should probably be concentrating on this battle instead of thinking about the case. Yuck, why do I have to eat dog food? Where is that dude's? Health. Ooh. Nice job, Cleo. We did it. That was just a dream. A paladin dream. What are you doing here? I've got to give you credit, Detective. You found this cave, even though I was unable to find anything after searching for 2 years. I was also here the day Lord Russell Gallant mentioned that he found a treasure somewhere on this mountain ridge. I'm a little embarrassed about how you've shown me up like this, however. The treasure is mine. You can't take it. Oh, jeez. What's gotten into you, Innkeeper? You're right, Detective. I need to come to my senses. Alright. I saw you jump down the ledge, and I followed you into this cave. Can it really be possible that there's a treasure hidden in here? I see. So no gold, diamonds, or anything like that? I should have known better than to listen to that kooky game designer. I can't believe I wasted 2 years looking for nothing. And to think, I even went through the trouble of scaring all the hotel guests away. You scared the hotel guests? That's right. I was the one who spread the story about the hotel being haunted. If the guests all left, then I had plenty of time to hunt for the treasure. I overheard Russell Gallant telling Gary about 2 years ago. I was the one who caused the power to go out. I rigged it up so generator settings to shut off every day at the same time. I'm also responsible for the ghostly singing you heard. I used to sing opera before I became an innkeeper. What about the murder? No, I didn't kill him. I only wanted to scare my guests, not murder them. Was it you dressed up as a white lady? The one who was seen by the victim's bodyguard leaving the den? Come on, Detective. You've searched my entire hotel, including my office. Did you find a costume like that in my possession? Who else knew that the blackout was rigged? The only other person I told was the snowmobile driver. I asked him to tell his passengers about the white lady every time he brought someone to the hotel. The driver? The same one that drove Cleo and I? Yes, he was the one who helped me set up the electrical generator with a mechanical switch timer to create a power outage on cue. So he had to know about it. You went through a lot of trouble scaring guests away so that you had time to look for a treasure Russell Gallant described in a conversation you overheard 2 years ago? But you were unsuccessful. Sounds like I wasted my time. And from what you say, you've wasted your time here too. Actually, for Cleo and I, this has been surprisingly productive. But if the treasure in this cave has no value, then I'm going back to the hotel. From now on, instead of scaring my guests away, I'm going to make the Cresta de Montaga into the best hotel in the Italian Alps. I'll start by refurbishing the basement and taking care of the gas leaks in guest room 1, 3, and 7. Then I'll become wealthy, like I've wanted. And I don't need some mythical treasure or ridiculous ghost story to do it. I'll see you back at the hotel. You've still got a murder to solve, both of you. The blackout was planned. That means someone could have known about it and used it as a diversion. That means when the lights went out, Senior Billy Kramer could have been already dead. We need to find out where all the suspects were before the lights went out. Maybe somebody will slip up. Time to go back and ask more questions. Woof. Alright, let's change our disguise. The ghost clown. Ha ha ha. All your days belong to us. I should find out where each suspect was before the lights went out. About the ghosts. Yeah, I put on Lena Kramer's box of costumes in the basement. You really shouldn't be tampering with the possessions of my hotel guests. No, it's not true. I was going to blackmail him. I only wanted a fair paycheck. I lied to the detective. I admit that I knew about Sandra Berg being fired, and I figured out that my boss and his son set her up. I just wanted to make a little money to improve my situation. It's not like he made life easy for me. Boo? I heard that you were a capable detective, but you really are just a clown. I'm disappointed. Tell me everything now, mortal, or beware. Detective? Be afraid. Take off that spooky clown disguise. I know you're not a real ghost. If Lord Russell Gallant, the creator of Paladin Dream, were here, he'd know what to do. So, how do I look? You're talking to a girl with green skin. Hello, Richard. Hello, I'm a ghost. Beware. Pathetic. My father's bodyguard might get spooked by a bozo amateur detective like you, but I'm not impressed. When will the real police officers show up? Hello. Aren't you supposed to be investigating a murder? Stop clowning around. I was gonna say, that should be everyone. Hello. Alright, that is scaring me a little bit with that costume. Where's the cat? Are you for real, Detective Wolf? Hello. What in the world are you doing? That fursuit cutting off the circulation to your brain? This was a dumb idea. Doggone it. Ba-dum-bum. Howdy. Take off that fursuit and get back to solving your mystery. What does this look like? Comic-Con? Lord Russell, blah 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 blah. Same stuff. Huh. Who are you? Hello. That police dog costume I'm making for my brother's next birthday? Ruff. You look ridiculous. Take that off before your poor pet dog disowns you. That was rough. Don't mind me. Nice try. If you think you're gonna fool me by wearing that silly police dog costume, then you're definitely barking up the wrong tree. Bum bum. Wolf. Hey, police dog, you're back. Are you close to solving this mystery? Wolf. Alright, I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't tell the detective. Want to know what I was really doing earlier? This should be good. I was watching cartoons. That's pretty much all I do when I'm at the office. But I look busy. After what's happened, I might have to actually do some real work soon. I'm pretty sure my father knew about it, but kept quiet. Now that he's dead, I've got to figure out how to run the business myself. All I want is for his murderer to be brought to justice, the way it always happens on your TV show. Can you do that for me, please? Police dog? So, can you help me solve this mystery, Wolf Wolf Bark? In the corporate world, nobody takes you seriously, unless you look the part. I've got to be honest, that fursuit definitely isn't helping. Alright, let's take off the costume. We're at 7 of 11. Before the lights went out, I was downstairs in the basement checking the power generator. I wanted to make sure that the power would go off as scheduled. I saw the group drinking grappa in the lounge earlier. Lana Kramer had a lot to drink. I stayed out of the den, of course. I didn't want to interrupt Billy Kramer and his important meetings. Did you kill him? Knock it off, detective. I may have had my reasons for wanting to scare people away from this hotel, but I certainly didn't need to kill anybody to do it. I hope you know what you're doing because you're getting on my nerves. Before the lights went out, I was guarding the door next to the den. Mr. Kramer had his meetings to attend, and it's my responsibility to keep him undisturbed. I had no idea about what had happened between him and Sandra Berg. Nobody told me she had been fired. How was I to know she'd come here to have it out with him? I'm certain that I know what I saw, detective, no matter how many times I've been banged up. Sometime after Mr. Kramer's argument with Sandra Berg, his daughter Lana came into the den. So I never actually saw her enter the room, but she's the only one artsy enough to walk around the office wearing those spooky costumes. Later I could still hear my boss talking with the lawyer, Ned Dillman, right until the lights went out. I had no idea something was amiss. It sounded like a normal meeting to me, just like any other time I've kept watch outside the door to my boss's office. Did you kill him? No way! I'm a prize fighter, not a murderer. There are rules in the ring after all. I heard his voice in the room right up until the moment the power went out. Right until that spooky singing, whoever passed me to kill him must have been the world's top stealth assassin. Hello, M317. No more questions. That's only 2. Do you have any idea who could have killed my boss? You're asking where I was before the lights went out? I was in the lounge, trying to advise Billy's daughter not to drink too much. At least I convinced her to go lie down. If she had ran her mouth to her father in front of the Comp Inc. lawyer, it could have derailed everything. Let's see. After I walked Lana to her room, I didn't see Billy Jr., Gary Small, or the innkeeper anywhere. I assumed Billy Sr. was still in the den. I was hoping he'd have a change of heart and listen to Sandra Berg, maybe even rehire her. Did you kill him? Of course I didn't kill my boss. It's horrible for the company. What's happened? Don't you see? You haven't figured it out by now? I'm the one who impersonated Billy Kramer Sr. and sent you and Cleo that letter in the mail. I did it to protect not just him, but the huge payroll of employees that depend on him. I only hope that it wasn't all in vain, that you and Cleo can bring this killer to justice. Done for now. Hi, Jordan. How long are you going to keep us all in the dark? Before the lights went out, I was here in my room. I'm not a very social person. I prefer video games. I don't know. I didn't see anybody. Did you kill him? No, I was in here. I never even threatened to kill my boss, I promise. Dark and stormy night. Let's go downstairs. No, the cat didn't go downstairs yet. You know, lots of people wanted my father dead. Before the lights went out, I was drinking downstairs with my dad's secretary. So then I'm going to tell Dad, I just want to lie down. Dear sweetie, how much have you had to drink? I'm going to put on my zombie makeup and I'll make him think I'm really dead. That'll show him. Then he'll know how it feels to have a daughter he completely ignores because of his job. You know, sometimes I really wish he was dead. We really need to get you tea before you do something stupid. Innkeeper, can you please take this bottle someplace where she can't get it? Of course, I'll take it down to the basement into the storage, along with her box of costumes. Thank you. I better escort this one back to her bedroom now. You're saying that the grappa bottle was clean? Nobody drugged it? And I wonder what could have happened. I didn't see anyone else. I was in here asleep. The last thing I remember is Carol Winters helping me into bed. I slept through everything that happened until you and your dog came in my room. Did you kill him? Get real, detective. I wouldn't kill my own father, no matter how much he disagreed with my life choices. He's still my dad. All I wanted was to scare him a little bit. Make him think, you know? Goodbye. Need new information, detective? You're asking for my whereabouts before the lights went out. I was in the den with Mr. Kramer working on the legal paperwork to complete the sale of Hack Division to my employer, Comp Inc. When you and your dog first arrived at the hotel, Mr. Kramer asked me to greet you. Before that, I was in the den the whole time, working with Mr. Kramer, who was still very much alive. Well, I assume Mr. Kramer's bodyguard, Ty, was outside the den guarding the door. That was his job after all, except for the moment that he let that disgruntled former employee barge through and complain to her former boss, Miss Berg. That was it. She was the one who connected with Comp Inc. when we were looking to buy the game publisher. To kill him. I assure you, I wanted Comp Inc. to buy Hack Division Games as much as anyone. We're going to make a fortune off of how they're doing the games. Of course, now it seems the whole business deal is going to have to be negotiated again from scratch with Mr. Kramer's son, Billy Kramer Jr., at the helm. What a mess this is going to be. So much redundant work to do. You're asking where I was before the lights went out? If you must know, I was working on an extremely important business task. It's top secret. I don't have to answer an annoying nuisance of an amateur detective like you. I can't speak for anybody else. I was too busy. Stop pestering me. I don't want to run a business. I wanted my father alive. How dare you accuse me of murdering my father? Don't you realize how bad shape the company is in now without him? Sorry for your loss, bruh. I know it looks bad for me, but I didn't do it. Well, you already know about my altercation with my former boss earlier in the den. After that, I just cooled off in the lounge as I waited for the snowmobile to arrive. The innkeeper saw me. You did too, detective, if you remember. Billy Kramer Sr. was in the den, along with the lawyer from Pompey. His bodyguard was outside the door. I saw the innkeeper in the lounge afterwards. I didn't see much of the Kramer kids before the uproar when you arrived, though. Lana was probably drinking and working on her art. Billy Jr. was probably watching cartoons and trying to look like he's working. Those were their usual habits. I may have said that I wanted to kill him because I was angry. What he did was unfair. I was going to file a lawsuit for wrongful termination after I came to my senses. Suspects revisited 8 occasions. Lights, and they went out again. Right, Leo. I don't hear any ghostly singing this time either. We've got to hurry down to the generator room in the basement and get the power back on. Hey, stop. Whoever that was, they got away so fast. That sounded like a window shattering somewhere upstairs. Gotta hurry down to the generator room in the basement, get the power back on. Looks like somebody came down here and turned the power off manually. At least the lights are on again. Let's go back upstairs and investigate the sound of the glass shattering. looking for the cat. Guess the cat's not down here yet. Cat left the lounge where everyone came downstairs. Find the cat and hit the cat again. Ah. So it left the lounge. Elgato, where you at? There we go. At the cat again. LOL. 100 gamer score. Theo found a clue. This window has been shattered. That must have been the noise we heard from downstairs. The clue is saved to your case file. The speakers that were plugged into the computer when I searched this room earlier are gone. I think I've solved the mystery. There's a lot of complications, but I think I know who killed Billy Kramer and why they did it and how. No. Alright, so let's save. I'm gonna save onto 11. New entry for horror. Got it. Solved. There's just one more thing we need to do with that electrical apparatus first. Then we'll assemble all the suspects in the den, where the murder happened. Explanation. This part of the story, Detective Guy will explain the solution to the mystery. A correct answer will earn a point. Accumulating enough points will result in convincing the others the solution. A low score, less than half correct, will not be convincing. Can we really trust this amateur detective's judgment on the matter as important as my father's murder? No choice. When the public finds out what happens, it will ripple throughout the entire company. The accusation deal I spent all this time negotiating could be completely thrown out. We might have to start again from scratch. I want to get out of here as soon as possible. I never should have come into this place. If you try to leave, you're going to have to get past me. None of us are going anywhere until we find out who done it. Like it or not, we're all stuck here until the mystery is solved. We're all in agreement. Let's go ahead. Detective, tell us what's happening. Alright, I'm going to try to get it wrong for the bad ending. Good, one of you is the killer, and I know who. The mystery began long before any of us arrived at the Cressida. Morning. For the Hack Division Games holiday party. Before we arrived here, Cleo and I were sent something astonishing in the mail, which served as an introduction of the events to come. This was the item we received. We received steakhouse receipt. That explanation is not consistent with the facts. Maybe I should think about something more before. Got them all wrong. The victim's letter. At first, Cleo and I were skeptical that it was genuine, and it turned out our instincts were right. Then our airline tickets arrived. I still say it's ridiculous. My father would never write to you. But he really got a death threat, and somebody really did kill Billy Kramer. What do you mean your instincts were right? We'll come back to that later. As it turned out, the murder happened shortly after we arrived. Leo and I stood in the doorway to the lounge, arguing with Billy Kramer Jr., and Ned Dillman, the innkeeper, was quietly behind her desk, and Sandra Berg was angrily pacing near the fireplace. That's when it happened. And what happened? Another blackout. Oh no. My god. The ghost is back. Not again. Everyone, be careful. What's going on? This happened. The lights in the hotel went out. A power outage. Wait. How did you know that would happen? It's like you planned it. Exactly. Along with the lights out, we all heard a spooky singing voice coming from somewhere nearby, but it was impossible to determine the source. What was it? Somebody wanted all of us to believe that it was because of the supernatural curse. When I first explored the hotel pink slip, folklore book. The book we found contained a sad and haunting story about the Alpine ghost legend of the White Lady. The tale described the apprehension as a harbinger of death, witnessed in a blizzard, and accompanied by ghostly singing. Yeah, look what happened. Yes, it's true, there was a blizzard, and we heard ghostly singing, and then Billy Kramer, was found stabbed to death. You're gonna tell us that Billy Kramer, the president of Activision Games, was killed by a ghost? Come on. I'm acknowledging that all three events happened at the same time. What about causation? Obviously, the circumstances surrounding Mr. Kramer's death were very suspicious, especially after I spoke with everyone who was in the hotel at the time. I discovered each of you had a motive for wanting him dead. Are you absolutely sure that I had to be one of us? The only possible explanation, the front door to the lounge is the only way in and out of the hotel, and the den window opens up on top of a steep cliff. It would have been impossible for some unknown assassin to pass through the den without being seen, and anyone attempting to escape through the den window would plunge to their death. What motive do I have possibly What motive could I have possibly had to kill this senior Billy Kramer? My employer was about to buy his company. You certainly had your own suspicious private agenda. How do you mean? Besides the victim, you were the one who had intimate knowledge of the accusation of Activision Games by Comp Inc. The terms of the deal were completely transparent. By next quarter, they'd be available to any Comp Inc. stockholder. Leo and I found evidence that you had connected with somebody in the area for a secret meeting. The steakhouse receipt. Before arriving at the hotel, you had paid for dinner at a restaurant in Torino with an unknown guest. Who was it? I can guarantee you that my personal dinner guest was not someone who is here in this room now. Who says I need to disclose my personal dinner plans or list my business associates? I'm under no such obligation to the deceased or to any of you. Your omission of this rendezvous is important, regardless. It shows that your dealings with my father haven't been entirely above board and trustworthy. Anna Kramer, are you really in a position to point the finger of suspicion? Maybe you should take a look at your green face in the mirror first. Hey, what did I do? You were planning to theoretically fake your own death to get your father's attention. The White Lady ghost legend tells of a hooded, veiled spirit haunting this region of the mountains. At least one person here claimed to see someone dressed in a white veil and hood. You are a professional costume designer. I found this item in the hotel basement, which could have provided you with a disguise. Costume box. You could have stored a costume which looked like the White Lady's ghost in your box of costumes. It would have been the easiest for you out of everyone to disguise yourself. I did make a costume like that, but not for myself. I sold it already. It was a commission to an anonymous buyer on the internet. If I had a costume like that, then tell me, where is it now? I bet she did it for attention. Or was it for Daddy's money instead? You want to have a conversation about looking for money now, Mr. Lipson? What are you talking about? Some people will do ruthless and desperate things for money. Wouldn't you agree? I'm just a professional bodyguard. Somebody who is physically close to the victim in his office saw an opportunity. After we unlocked the victim's hotel suite, Theo and I discovered something that somebody had planned to use against Mr. Kramer for money. The blackmail photos. In the folder with photographs, that was intended to be used as blackmail, you found out about something shady and illegal that your boss had done, and decided to try and use it for your own personal gain. You were planning to blackmail Billy Kramer. How did you find out about that? Alright, it's true. I was going to blackmail my boss because I found out his move to terminate Sandra Berg was illegal and expensive. But I didn't kill him. Then how would I get the money? What a sleazy and opportunistic thing to do. How do we know you didn't kill him because he found out about your blackmail scheme? Miss Berg, you're free to make a conjecture about somebody else's motive. I should remind you that you're the only person here who openly threatened the victim. I found this item in your hotel room, which confirms your grudge against the victim, as well as your motive for murder. Oh, come on. Let you pick the same one. The pink slip. Cypress Hill is at the game? After you found out you had been terminated and lost your bonus from the Hack Division buyout deal, you came here to threaten your former boss. You even suggested you kill him. I never should have come here. It would have been smarter to take my chances in court. I admit what I said was stupid, but I didn't kill him. That might as well be a confession. When will the police show up and arrest her? How convenient. It was that Sandra Berg had just been fired. How convenient for you and your father, don't you think? What are you talking about? She was going to kill him. What could have made Sandra Berg so angry that she uttered such a threat in public? Why was she fired? When I found this item, I was able to gain insight into the Hack Division's finances. It revealed the true motive for Sandra Berg's firing. Gordon. Trying to click too fast. Activision company balance sheet. Sanderberg stood to make an enormous commission from the sale of the company. Your father wanted to keep that money for himself. Your father needed an accomplice to plant the death threat in Sanderberg's belongings and frame her for it. Senior Billy Kramer's bodyguard, Ty, found out about the plot and intended to blackmail him. You also were next in line to lead the company in the event of your father's death. So what you're saying is, if we follow the money, then we'll discover the culprit. Follow the money, yes. It's like a treasure hunt, wouldn't you say, Miss Russo? 2 years ago, you overheard a conversation between Gary Small and the deceased game designer Lord Russell about a priceless treasure on this mountain. A treasure you wanted to find so badly that you even scared away all your hotel guests. Theo and I found this item, which proves that despite being a scenic tourist destination, the Cresseta de Montega Hotel has had almost no guests during the last 2 years. No, Jordan. Jordan is like on my armrest. The hotel logbook. You've been scaring guests away from this hotel for 2 years, which is exactly when you overheard the conversation about Russell Gallant's treasure. A treasure that, despite your best efforts, you were unable to find. Use the Alpine ghost legend of the White Lady for your own benefit and planted the folklore book for anyone in your hotel to see. You planned those horrifying electrical power blackouts to happen just like clockwork. And the ghostly singing. Big scene is? No. I used to train as an opera singer in Siena. Hey, wait, so there's no ghost? What you're saying and the whole thing is faked? This is all because of that time you heard my old friend tell me about treasure, and you had the nerve to scare everyone? Ooh, another boss fight. Because of it? The innkeeper isn't the only one here who knows about scaring people. Miss Small, would you also like to tell us what you know about making threats? What? When we were explored Billy Kramer's hotel room, the Emperor's Suite, Cleo and I found something that was intended to make him fear for his life. The death threat that was sent to senior Mr. Kramer. Billy Kramer and his son pinned the death threat on Sandra Bird as an excuse to have her fired, but she was not the one who sent it. Who was it? Who else stood to lose a lot from Activision Games being bought out by Comp Inc? Was someone else whose job was in jeopardy? Alright, I admit it. I sent the death threat. I figured that I'd be laid off when Comp Inc gained creative control over Paladin Dream, and I didn't want that to happen. So then I took the fall for you. I'm sorry. I was looking out for myself. I had no idea any of this would happen. You deceived your own employer. The death threat was just a trick from a desperate employee hoping to hold on to their position in the company. How unethical. You want to talk about ethics? Miss Winters, how about the ethics of impersonating your boss? Well, when we found the pink slip that the victim wrote, we noticed that it was signed Billy. However, in the victim's letter we received in the mail, it was signed William Kramer I. This inconsistency suggested that these two documents were actually written by two different people. Miss Berg's pink slip was obviously genuine, so then our letter was composed by someone else who was pretending to be Billy Kramer. I told you, My father would never have contacted you. Am I right or am I right? When we found this clue, we discovered that somebody admitted to impersonating Billy Kramer. Ooh. Employee's notebook. The murder victim never wrote to Cleo and I. Never warned us about the death threat, and never sent us any airline tickets to Italy. These actions were all performed by Senior Mr. Kramer's secretary, Carol. I only did it to protect my boss, to protect the company, the employees. You embezzled money from the company to pay for airline, for the detective and a dog? How dare you? As you can see, Billy really was murdered. You planning to actually do anything about it, detective? This public shaming of all of us has gone on quite long enough. Solve the case, or I'll break your face. When pondering over a solution, I had 4 questions that kept bothering me. When did the murder happen? Why did the lights go off the first time? How did the killer escape? Why did the lights go off again for the second time? Do you have the answers? At first, the murder seemed physically impossible. The senior Mr. Kramer was stabbed in the den while the lights were out, with his faithful bodyguard outside the door. That does seem impossible. There's no way anybody could have snuck around Ty and gone in or out the den in pitch black. We were all led to assume that the murder happened during the first blackout. But what if the murder really happened before the lights were out? What if Billy Kramer was already dead when the lights went out? And the murder was actually committed earlier. It seems impossible because it was impossible. When Billy... The victim was already dead by the time the innkeeper's spooky charade happened. Why did the lights go out the first time? The innkeeper was scaring guests away so she could look for the treasure. You've already told us that, detective. This deranged innkeeper here had engineered the blackouts to scare her guests away. Can we end this inquest now? Just because I haunted my hotel doesn't mean I killed someone, some business tycoon. But you're the only one here who knew that the lights were going out. That's where you're wrong, Mr. Dillman. The snowmobile driver also knew about my plan. He helped me rig up the electrical room for the timed blackout. But he left the hotel a long time ago. How can you accuse someone who isn't even actually here? Anna Russo may not have told anybody else about her methods of scaring away the hotel guests, but the snowmobile driver ran his mouth. When Cleo and I were riding to the Cressida Hotel, the driver hinted to us about the mysterious happenings going on. They say that the hotel's surrounding area is haunted. If I guess you two haven't heard of the White Lady before, if you treat me to a steak dinner and a couple of 100 rounds of drinks sometime, I'll tell you all about it too. That's a steak dinner and a couple of rounds of drinks. Personally, I've lost my appetite. Why are you bringing this up? Duh, we know. The time the snowmobile driver said it, I wasn't sure what to think. Lou connects the snowmobile driver to one of the other hotel guests, the one of you that had taken him up on his offer. And he told you everything about the rig power outages. And the phony ghost. Who else met with the snowmobile driver? The same person who took him out to a fancy steak dinner in Torino, Ned Dillman. Alright, it's true. I went out for dinner with the snowmobile driver. My signature is on the receipt. Your dinner guest may not be one of us, but he was someone who knew about what was going on in this hotel. I see. And the snowmobile driver told you all about how he and I set up the electrical blackouts. What connection could this have to the lights going out for the second time? The killer didn't enter and exit the den during the blackout. And that person must have been in the room already. Who went into the den? Goal! We know the murder victim was alive when Sandra Berg barged into the den to protest her termination from the firm. He sure was alive and just as slimy as ever. How can you talk about my wonderful father like that? Sometime after that, before the lights went out, Ty says he saw Luna Kramer leaving the den wearing one of her spooky costumes. It wasn't me. I never went to the den. I was passed out in bed. My boss was still alive when that happened. I could still hear him speaking from outside the door to speakers.
40% returns. We're practically printing money.
How is it possible that nobody saw Senior Billy Kramer's killer leave the den? I saw the daughter leaving the den wearing that costume. She scared the hell out of me. No, that's not possible. It's true. I helped Luna to bed. I can assure you that she was in no state to do any such thing. Cleo and I found this item in the basement, which worked as a sedative for Miss Kramer. Wrong one. A bottle of grappa she drank. Lana Kramer was so sedated that she slept through the murder and the blackout. That girl must have drank an awful lot. The bottle was drugged. It must have been. Not so. When Cleo examined the bottle, she determined that it was clean. Why did Lana get so sleepy? I can answer that. We're up in the mountains. Since Lana arrived here recently, her body was not yet adjusted to the lower oxygen levels, so the alcohol had a stronger effect. Then there's a natural reason why the liquor hit my system so hard. What does the sister's drinking problem have to do with solving my father's murder? It establishes that it couldn't have been Lana that Ty saw leaving the den wearing that costume. The murderer put the ghostly costume which scared the victim's bodyguard, leaving in plain sight. Finding the reason for the second blackout. Obviously more the innkeeper's trying to frighten us into believing in her lurid ghostly story. I'm not sure. I didn't hear any more of her spooky singing this time. All I heard was the window in the den being smashed open. I agree, I didn't hear any singing the second time either. Who broke the den window? And why did they do it? Yeah, it's getting chilly in here. Are we almost done with this? Did you find any new clues? Nothing new was added, but something was here earlier has been removed. After the second power outage, Cleo and I discovered that the item has been thrown out the den window is the speakers. After the second power outage, Cleo and I discovered that the item the computer speakers were gone. The speakers had been tossed out. Why did the killer need to get rid of the computer speakers? What were they trying to hide? The dude was dead. I could hear his boss speaking outside the door, but could not see him. We only overheard sound of his voice to verify that Billy Kramer was still alive. Lady Ghost exited the room, and when the lights went out, that's because the voice he heard was a recording of his boss's voice played through the speakers. Billy Kramer was already dead. Our murderous ghost, assumed to be Lana Kramer, had already left the scene, hidden in plain sight.
I see.
Why did the lights go out again for the second time? To scare the guests away. Destroy the evidence. The killer shut the power off in order to get rid of the computer speakers. Who did it, detective? Who killed my father? Sounds like you know the identity of the person wearing the ghost costume, even if Ty never saw the person's face. No. I can't be sure. Theo missed too many clues, or I butchered too many deductions. Now we'll never know what happened. This is all your fault. Next time, I really need to put more focus into this. Alright, so we got the bad ending. Oh, come on. Before we arrived, Theo and I were sent something. When I first explored the hotel lobby, found this item. It was the folklore book. Theo and I found evidence that you had connected with somebody in the area for a secret meeting. Steakhouse receipt. You're a professional costume designer. I found this item in the hotel basement, which could have provided. It was the costume box. Oh, come on. After we unlocked the victim's hotel suite, Cleo and I discovered something that somebody had planned to use against Mr. Kramer for money. The blackmail photos. I found this item in your hotel room, which confirms your grudge against the victim as well as your motive for murder, the pink slip. When I found this item... Ooh, firing. Balance sheets? Yes, during the last 2 years, it was a hotel logbook. Oh, I didn't. When we explored Billy Kramer's hotel room, the Emperor's Suite, Cleo and I found something that was intended to make him fear for his life. A death threat. How much time do I have? The death threat. I should be fine still. When we found the pink slip, the victim wrote, the employee's notebook. Come on. Before the first blackout. Why did the lights go out for the second time? To destroy the evidence. Oh. Oh, to scare guests away. We know the murder victim, blah blah blah.
Yep. I see. Well, that's the bottom line.
See, when I found this item in the basement which worked as a sedative, that was the bottle. How did the killer escape? Wearing a costume? After the second power outage, Cleo and I discovered the meter speakers. I can hear his, but cannot see him.
Yep. I see. Well, that's the bottom line.
Why did the lights go out again for the second time? To destroy the evidence. Everyone present had a motive. It could only have been a frustrated, money-hungry bodyguard whose employer had fooled his blackmail scheme, or was it the secretary? How about a creative director who was so worried about losing his job? What about a wayward, attention-seeking daughter, or a disgruntled former employee who felt she was wronged by the victim? It could have been the lawyer sitting on the other side of the desk on a deal that was so important to both parties. It could have been the victim's son, who was supposed to take over the company. There's also the suspicious innkeeper, who is determined to scare away all the guests. Tell us. The murderer of Billy Kramer is the... It's Anna Russo, isn't it? Oh, I don't know who the murderer is. It was Ned the lawyer from Comp Inc. It's not who I thought it was. What's the reason for this mockery of an accusation, detective? I'll see you in court for defamation of character over this. I'm even going to sue your dog. You're the only one who was alone with the victim before Ty saw the ghostly figure leaving the den. Before you committed murder. I've got to say, Mr. Gilman, this deal I've worked out with you and Comp Inc. is finally going to give me all the money I've ever needed. Oh yes, you deserve a hard bargain. True to form, Mr. Kramer. Call me Billy, please. With the fortune I'm about to amass, I'm planning to start a new publishing company. I'm going to publish video games the right way. No more microtransactions. No more digital rights management. And no more milking the players for cash. I'm going to start treating my employees with dignity and respect. No more mandatory forced overtime. Most of all, we're going to spend more time with my children, Billy Jr. and Lana. They need my help, and I'm going to be there for them as a father. Mark my words, Mr. Dillman. After your employer buys out my company for these generous terms, you're going to see a very different. I'm afraid that won't be happening since the deal fell through. What do you mean, the deal fell through? We're about to sign the last contract. I also drive a hard bargain. Then you killed him. After stabbing Billy Kramer, he used the computer speakers to play a pre-record conversation with his voice. That way the time of death was obfuscated, and it all seemed as though he was still alive. Then you put on the White Lady ghost costume, which served as a disguise while you left the den. The victim's bodyguard mistook you for Lana, the costume designer. That's ridiculous, detective. Why would I kill Billy Kramer? My company was about to buy Hacktivision Games from him. After his unfortunate death, the whole deal will have to be renegotiated. That's exactly why you killed him. To stop the deal. No, you killed him so that you could then get a better deal. Billy Kramer Sr. was well known in the industry for being a strong-armed negotiator. He was very perceptive at observing the other side's weaknesses and exploiting them for his own gains. You got that right. He was ruthless. But in the event of his death, who takes control? I do. While Billy Kramer, the father, was shrewd and intelligent businessman, capable of devising the best deal possible for his interests, Billy, the son, was not. And that's why he was murdered. So the result of his death could negotiate a contract with Billy Jr. to more favorable terms. How dare you insult me, detective? My father taught me everything. He may have tried, but were you paying attention? You're right, Theo. There has to be a way I can show. Please, dog. Hey, police dog, you made it! Wolf! Are you close to solving the mystery? Wolf! Good, because I want to see this episode as soon as it's on TV. The next time there's a big important meeting, I promise, I'm going to duck out and watch the show. That's what I always do, isn't it? It's much more fun than all this hard work. Billy Kramer, too, isn't prepared to run his father's company. Ned Dillman figured that out. As Comp Inc.'s lawyer, if he could find a way to negotiate better terms for his employer, he certainly would have been. Promised a strong financial incentive. So your case is that I stabbed Billy Kramer, then put on that ghost disguise that was witnessed by his bodyguard? The way I see it, unless you are able to produce this ghostly costume, your whole theory falls apart. There was a ghost costume you and I crossed paths with you in the lounge during the second time the electricity was turned off. Are you able to produce this alleged ghost disguise now, or was it disappeared? Where could the ghost costume have gone? It has to be someplace we haven't looked yet. lawyer's briefcase. It's been carrying with him this whole time. Would you care to open your briefcase, Mr. Dillman? Contents of my briefcase are property of Comp Inc., and if any of you lay a finger on it, it will be violating confidentiality. Knock it off. Give me that. Get away from me, all of you. You've got nowhere to go. The snowstorm is starting to let up. We'll be able to reach the police soon. No, you won't. Get me. Oh, my dinner is almost ready. At that instant, Ned Dillman attempted to escape. He was stopped by the burly type who restrained him until the blizzard subsided. The innkeeper called the police. The killer was taken away. Ski resort. Oh, dinner's ready. Alright, well, I'm not going to be able to do this because it's dinner time. This has been Murder is Game Over. Deal Killer, available now for $4.99. I'll be back Saturday. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Stay safe. Happy gaming. I'm going to go on to Idle.